What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me for another video. I know it's been yet again quite some time since I've posted a video. I've been really slacking lately and I apologize for that. There's been some huge changes going on in my garage and we're going to go over that a little bit today. We also have some new parts to install, so we're going to go over that as well. And as you can see, my beautiful KTM racing banner behind me, which is kind of a shame because with the news that I'm about to tell you, I actually got this flag for my birthday in the middle of March, and then the very next day, I sold my Super Duke. And now, we're gonna show you what I replaced it with. So like any sane adult, you know, I sold my Super Duke, my nice big fast 1000cc V-twin monster, and I picked up this, a 2020 Grom. Not that exciting, right? But you're wrong. This bike is stupid fun. I'm really surprised at how much fun it actually is. So to keep a long story short, I'm actually getting ready to move back east in June, and I figured if I was gonna sell my Super Duke, I'd probably get the most money for it out here in California where it belongs. You know, it belongs in these mountainous roads with these beautiful curves. So I ended up selling my Duke, 35,000 miles on it. That bike, you know, I had it for a good 8 or 9 months. Super great bike, awesome bike. A pig on gas though. The best gas mileage I was getting out of that bike was 28 miles per gallon. And with the way that gas prices are today, I was spending upwards of $30 every 2 days that I was commuting to work to ride that bike. And it was just getting way out of hand. So with the Grom here, you know, they're advertised to get like 134 miles per gallon. Now I'm a bigger guy, you know, I'm like 235 pounds or so. This bike is not gonna get 134 miles per gallon with me on it. And it's definitely not gonna get 134 miles per gallon with the way that I've modified it now. Now when I picked up this bike, cosmetically it's pretty much the same as it is as you see here. I did swap out some things and we'll go over that in a separate video. Today we're gonna install some new parts just to get the Grom feeling much more comfortable for me. So to start off with, I actually got all of this in the mail today, including the seat. So this seat right here I got off of Steady Garage for like 99 bucks plus shipping. You know, it's like a Taiwanese brand type seat, but the fitment is great. And so far, I mean, just sitting on it now, it does give you a lot more adjustability to where you can put your butt in the bike. Because the stock seat, if you guys are familiar with these Groms, they have a nice huge hump right here that keeps you right in the front. And you only get about 1 inch or 2 of wiggle room to slide yourself back. And then if you want to go any further back, you have to like lift yourself up and put yourself on the back seat. This seat solves that issue by giving you a much nice flatter profile. And I'm also hoping that the padding in here is a little more kinder and gentler to my butt, because the stock Grom seat, it starts to hurt really bad after about 40 to 1 hour, you know, like it's really not that great. So I'm hoping that after this breaks in a little bit, I can tell, you know, it's not the softest padding in the world, but this is not a Corbin seat. This is a $100 seat. All I really wanted was to get rid of that hump, because being a taller rider, I like to sit a little bit further back. And when your butt is up against that hump the entire time, it's just not a good vibe. All right, so additionally, we have these parts right here. This is the Chimera shifter support bracket. And then this is the TB Parts Force aluminum shifter. And what this does is it replaces the stock shifter linkage down here. And I know it might be kind of dark, but you can see our stock shifter here. You see all this like looseness and free play, even like in and out, side to side play. It's terrible. It's not the greatest feeling shifter in the world. So what this is gonna do is it's actually going to bolt the shifter directly up to the rod here. Now the reason that I have that support bracket is because if you drop the bike with a direct shift rod on here, and that shifter, you know, linkage right here that comes out of the transmission, if that takes a blow, it can either bend or snap or break. So that plate is gonna go in here and support the shifter so that it can't be pushed in or any of that, or be bent around if the bike does take a spill, with that shifter now being directly put onto the shift shaft. So as you can see here, the stock one has all this linkage here. It's got these rubber bits and whatnot. The adjustability on it sucks. You literally can't adjust anything here for fine, you know, fine play. You can only adjust it here, and I just hate it. I'm hoping I get a little more adjustability by being able to put it wherever I'd like on the splines. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this stock sloppy shifter off of here and put the new parts on. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this 10mm bolt coming off of the shift bracket here that's on these splines. We're gonna take this bolt completely out. That'll allow us to free up this bit of the linkage all the way off of the shifter shaft. And then we're going to take off a circlip on the back part of the footrest where it's connected right here. There's a C-clip in there, and if you have a special pair of pliers, you can use those. If not, and you don't plan on going back to stock, just knock that circlip out with like a flat-headed screwdriver. You may ruin the circlip, but I don't plan on going back to stock, and I also have the tool for this, so I should be okay. Alright, so I apologize again if it's dark, but a trick to get this actually off those splines is to shake your shift lever while using your other hand to push this direction towards yourself, so that way it'll fall off. It may take a little bit of effort, but just trust me, just wiggle this while you do it simultaneously and it should come off fairly easily. Alright, so there you can see we have it free, and then this is how you would adjust, you know, where you want your lever to sit. You would put this on a different set of splines. Now what I found with this stock one is it only really likes to be in like 2 different positions. One of them is like the stock position, which to me is a little high for my feet. And then there's one that's lower, but it's almost too low that it makes it kind of uncomfortable to use. So like I said, that's another reason that I'm going to be putting on this TB Parts lever, because I'm hoping I'll get a little more adjustability. So next thing we're going to do, and I know it's probably impossible to see, but on the back side of this here, there's a circlip that we need to use a special set of pliers to get off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And once I have that circlip off, it's going to allow this bracket to slide off the back of the foot peg here, and then our shifter setup, the stock one, should be completely free from the bike. And here are those special set of pliers like I was talking about. Mine are also curved. I have a little set from Amazon here. So you just use these. You'll see 2 holes on the circlip. You're going to grab those holes, right? And then actually these might be the wrong ones. Let me grab my other set, because my other ones work in the reverse direction. So see, when I squeeze, they actually open up, and I want the circlip to open up so I can slide it off. Whereas this other set, they clamp in. All right, and just like that, here's the clip that I was talking about. You can see with this tool, it's really easy to grab those little holes right there, and then you just apply some pressure to open this ring up, and it slides right off. All right, so as you can see, the shifter assembly is completely free from the bike. Just be sure that you take these little black washers off with it. There's one on each side of this here. And then you can see that's where it used to sit. I just cleaned that off. It was a little bit greasy, probably from grease they pack in there to make sure that it has nice free movement. And now we're gonna get into installing the Chimera support bracket. All right, so I grabbed a little headband flashlight and I just have it shining up at our shift shaft right here. I just want to show you guys, here's our support bracket. So this is essentially going to install right over the shift shaft here. And then we're going to replace a piece of hardware right here, and then a piece of hardware on the back side. Now with that, you can see there's a fairly large gap. So that's what these little pieces are here for as well. And you get some extended bolts. So you're going to take your extended bolt, right? And it's basically going to look like this. You're going to have your bracket. You're going to put the bolt through it. Let me see if I can get it in there, right? And then you're going to take one of these spacers, and it's going to be on the backside to take up that gap. And then it's just going to slide onto the shaft and into the bike like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get it installed, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. All right, guys, so here is the support bracket all installed. You can see the spacers right there. They took up the gaps that the stock hardware can't fill, and also, I mean, you just need it because the bracket has to sit forward on the splines right here. So as you can see, the shift rod or shift lever that we're going to put on here is going to meet that shift support bracket. So if the lever ever takes a blow, the blow goes into the actual support bracket and not into the actual spline shaft, saving it from breaking. Let's go ahead and we'll break this TB forged aluminum shifter out of its packaging, and we'll go ahead and install that now too. All right, so let's just take a moment to grovel, so to speak, over the beauty of this thing. What I really like about it is that it's made of all aluminum, so I won't have that rubber kind of like staining my boots anymore, because I wear brown boots when I'm in my uniform. So the rubber one catches dirt and whatnot and scuffs it into the boot. This will also save your shoes and everything else like that. But this thing is beautiful, man. I think I just got some grease on it right there. I'll clean that up. But make sure before you try to put it on that you take the bolt out. It will not slide into place if you try to put it in with that bolt in there. And the reason for that is, let me grab the flashlight again. If you look at the splines, you see the space right there in the middle of the splines? See how it's not splined? That's where that screw goes. So when you're putting it back together, make sure it's all lined up. The screw should go in hand tight and then be able just to be snugged with a wrench. If it's not going in hand tight, it means the threads are actually touching those splines, and that's not a good thing. So back off and then retry. All right, guys, so you can see we got it all installed here. I went and put my boot on just to make sure it fit my foot, you know, the way that I wanted it to. So that's a good key item to keep in mind. Go grab your, you know, your sneakers or whatever, your boots that it is that you wear, and make sure that you're putting it in a position that you're comfortable with. That's what mine looks like in relation to the foot peg. I do have to say, this is actually about an inch, maybe a half an inch, I don't know. A little more, yeah, see? You see the difference? So that's in its stock place. So it's a little bit more forward, which is nice, you know, for people like me, you know, of 6 feet tall that have average size to maybe a larger foot. So it's a little more space for our foot. And here's the ultimate thing about it. But before I go into that, let me just show you. So you can see it's bolted directly into the splines. And then if we come in here, take a sneak peek, you can see how the shifter, I'm trying to make sure I get the right angle, it meets the support bracket so that if the shifter takes a blow, you know, it takes a nice blow when you fall over, which this shifter does also have a collapsing peg right here, which it's got a lot of spring force, so it's not going to move on you while you're just riding. But if it does take a blow, this will spring in, and then the rest of that force will go to the plate and hopefully, as advertised, save your shaft. That's a big deal. If you break that thing, you're talking about expensive repairs right there. There's only the wiggle room now of just before you get to the clicks for each gear. It is a little more difficult. That was neutral. It is a little more difficult to find neutral with your foot, at least standing still with the motor off. I'll have to see how it is when you're riding it and you're moving. Honestly, like, I don't find that a big deal because most of the time when I'm on the street, I don't put the bike in neutral. When I'm sitting at a light and whatnot, I keep the bike in first gear so that I can move in case of an emergency. You're supposed to do that. And if you're not doing that, you probably should. So I'm only really using neutral, you know, like when I'm doing maintenance and other stuff like that. I'm not really in neutral. You know, bike's warming up, it might be in neutral, but it's not that big a deal. I'm not out riding trying to find neutral. But yeah, look at this. No more side to side in and out play. Like, it is sturdy. It's moving the whole bike with it. All that slop is gone. That was the goal of this. And the shifts are crisp, and it's less effort and less motion to get them to go into those gears. So I'm satisfied with it for now. We'll have to get some riding footage, which I will do shortly for you guys. All right, so that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Just wanted to show you the new bike, do a little install on some parts that I got. I've actually got a lot of other parts that I've already thrown on the bike that I didn't bother filming just because I've been kind of lazy. We'll do a future video on those as well. And just to let you know what they are, they're performance mods. You know, we got an intake, we got an ECU, we got a cam, we've got an exhaust, we've got, you know, pretty much all the bolt-on parts to make this little 125 go as fast as it can while it's still just a 125. And in the far future, I do want to do a big bore kit. So if you're interested, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick around. I got plenty more videos coming out about the Grom. We'll go over gas mileage, we'll go over like what it's like to ride, what it's like to go from a big bike to a little bike, all types of stuff. So if you're interested, make sure you smash that subscribe button, leave a like on this video if you could, and I will see you guys in the next video.